fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Boba Fett's Starship from the Star Wars Micro Galaxy Squadron from Jazwares. So this is supposed to be Boba Fett's Starship from the Book of Boba Fett. You can see we have Boba Fett and Fennec Shand here, and this is Boba Fett more resembling his appearance in that series. Over here on this side just kind of shows off some of the features like the opening hatch and the opening cockpit. Over here on this side you have kind of a cool bit of artwork here where you have some X-Wing fighters chasing down Boba Fett. There's a TIE fighter up here as well. Not too much going on the top because it's just kind of more of the window so you can see the ship inside. Not really anything going on the bottom. And then spinning it around to the back, it shows you some more of the features like the ramp that comes down, the rotating guns, the wings, etc., etc. And then we can see some of the other ships that are available. So pretty standard packaging for this line. I'm going to go ahead and get this guy out of the box and we'll take a closer look. Here is Boba Fett's Starship out of the packaging. We will take a look at the two little figures it comes with first. And honestly, I think Boba Fett looks really, really good. For as tiny as it is, it's very intricate. A lot of molded detail in there and a lot of paint applications. I think the helmet looks pretty good. It's a little messy, but honestly, it's not too bad. You have all the paint applications on the arms and on his boots down here. You have the little jetpack, which is removable. You will have to take this off so that you can put him in the cockpit, but I think that's really, really cool. All in all, I just think he looks pretty great. The arms can swivel up, and then he can bend 90 degrees at the waist, but that is pretty much it for articulation, but it makes sense. They're very small figures. Next up, we have Fennec Shand, and I feel like all of the paint applications went to Boba Fett because she does not have much. Now, obviously, her outfit is very black, so it makes sense to just mold it out of black, and then you have a little bit of orange highlights here. But all in all, I think she's okay. She's got the same articulation with the arm swivelings, and then we have the 90-degree bend at the waist there. So, two very tiny little figures, but I think they both came out pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and put these guys off to the side for the moment so that we can go ahead and check out Boba Fett's Starship here. First thing I always comment on is just the paint applications and the detail here on the outside of the ship. They really do a nice job with this line. Everything's kind of weathered because it is an older ship. But the paint applications just look really sharp. I like that quite a bit. Now, of course, when he takes off, the ship does change orientation. And when you do that, let me zoom out here and angle the camera up. As you turn, it automatically changes the orientation of the wings, which I think is really cool. And then you would just have to swivel the guns up manually. But I think that's really neat. I think that's really cool. I appreciate that. I like when they do this kind of stuff with this ship, where that kind of changes on its own. And I'm going to open up the cockpit here so that you can see that the cockpit swivels as well, which is really cool. So the seats inside go with the wings, and it all just manually changes over based on how you have the ship tilted. Now you can see here, you actually have room for 3 seats, which I think is really cool. I like that quite a bit. You have one in the front, and then you have 2 passengers back here. It is kind of difficult to get Boba Fett into his seat because it's kind of very, very tight in there. It's a lot easier to get the other 2 in because you have this extra space behind the first seat, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But I just like the fact that the seats change orientation just like with the wings, depending on how you have the ship. On the back here, there is a tiny little panel that you can flip open for his like thermal grenades or shock grenades, whatever they're called. You can see one right there, so you can pretend that he's launching them around as he flies, and then you can close that back up, which is all very, very cool. The back here opens up. Let me move this again and zoom in. So there's a little panel right here that you kind of just have to get your fingernail in here, but then you can lift this up. And this is just on a hinge, so you can lift this up. You can see that there is a little panel here that kind of moves around. But this is supposed to be like a weapons cache. You can see all the different guns and everything molded on there. There's a little peg hole there where you can mount the jetpack, which we'll get into in a minute. And then you have this ramp here on the back that slides down. And then this section here, if you push this through, will actually flip around. And there is a little clip, so if you want to bring this up and clip that into place, you can. I would advise not really clicking it in as much as possible because then it's going to be very difficult to get it back down. But now that we can get some light in here, we'll probably take a better look at the weapons rack. So now you can see all of the different things. He's got the thermal detonators. He's got a bunch of different guns there. He's got his rifle. So that's all molded in. Obviously, none of those things come off. It's just molded in there. But I think that's pretty cool. So now you can have characters, you know, board. And if you want, I mean, you could really just throw a bunch of loose characters in here if you really wanted to. So you could have someone come up the boarding ramp, get into this section here, and then just kind of hang out in here because this is just a large open cavity. So you could have people board and jump right inside there. I will attempt to peg the backpack or jetpack in there. It's a little difficult, honestly. What I find is easiest to do is to have it open like this so that you can kind of get your finger, have this swivel forward. Come on now. You can kind of, you know, use your finger to stabilize this panel and then try to peg in the jetpack. It's very difficult because everything is very tiny and it's just kind of hard to really get your hands in there, honestly. And of course I have no light to do this. I promise it can be done because I did it earlier. There we go. I think that's in. It doesn't peg in too much, honestly. There we go. So now you can see you have the jetpack pegged in, which is very cool. So I'm going to go ahead and close this up and then bring this panel back down, which, like I said, can be a little difficult. There we go. So close that up. So like I said, if you really wanted to just have a scene where, you know, this is open and the ramp is down, you could really just pile a bunch of characters in there. Let me open this up again so that I can flip this out and then close this back down. So you can see it's a pretty large cavity in there. Well, you probably can't see because there's no light. I need to get a secondary tiny light. Move this panel back over. But yeah, it's pretty deep in there. Like, you could really just kind of throw a bunch of characters in there if you wanted to. And then slide the ramp back closed, and that kind of friction's in place here. And that's not really... The nice thing is, like, none of those things, they open up pretty easily, but none of them are loose. So nothing's going to fly around in there. Now, I will attempt to get the characters into the cockpit. It can be a little difficult. Boba Fett especially. So what I try to do is... Now, they have these clips. And the way that they show... I don't know if I'm supposed to, like, top load these in here and push through the clip. But what I usually try to do is kind of feed them through the clip because I really don't want them to break. So I try to feed them through. And I know you can't see anything that I'm doing. Oh, there we go. Actually, that was easier that time. So I try to, like, put the feet underneath and then feed it straight through. And I can probably show it off a little better here with Fennec if I'm actually in frame. Let me move this. All right, can we see that? So I'm going to raise the arms up and then bend her at the waist and then just kind of clip the feet through there and then kind of thread the needle. It can be a little difficult, honestly. Like, I'll try to... Let me see if I can adjust this. And then tilt up. Okay. The one nice thing, like, I do appreciate that this moves with the wings. But it's also kind of difficult when I'm trying to have it stay in place so I can get these characters in here. But I feed the feet through the loop and then just kind of push it forward. And this should work. There we go. So there you go. We have both of our characters inside there. If you have another character from another set, you can put them in the third seat. So if you have Mando or somebody that you want to pop in there, you absolutely can, which is really cool. And then we can just close this back up. And then we can angle the guns and lift this up. And there you go. We have our Boba Fett Starship flying around. You can see the characters inside facing forward. I think it's really cool. I like it a lot, honestly. The only thing I would maybe change, and I don't know how they would actually do it, but it's very difficult to peg in that jetpack. So if it's somehow opened up, or maybe if this was like a piece you could take completely off and then just kind of pop back on. I do appreciate the hinge, but I just wish it had a little bit more clearance so you can get in there. But otherwise, it looks great. The paint applications are nice. I really like the features. I mean, you have the missile bay back here. You have the boarding ramp. You have this section that opens up as well as this. So you can actually have people board the ship. You have the really nice cockpit that can hold 3 people. It can move around with the wings, depending on which orientation you have the ship. I think it's cool. I like it a lot. And I just think they did such a good job with the paint applications and making it look weathered and everything. I think that's such a good job there as well. So I think this is a lot of fun. I definitely recommend checking it out. I've been having a lot of fun with this line, and I think this is probably one of the best ships in the line. And so I definitely recommend checking it out. I got this one, I believe, from Walmart. I know there's a Target exclusive version that's Jango Fett's. This one's Boba Fett's. I can't remember if this is a Walmart exclusive or if it was also available on Amazon, because I think it was on Amazon for a time. And I know there's 2 versions of the Razor Crest as well, so it gets a little confusing, but I think the best place to find this one is probably a Walmart, if I had to guess. So if you're looking for this guy, definitely check your local Walmart. I feel like I've been seeing these a lot more at stores. They were a little slow to release, but now I feel like Walmart's always got the Falcon. They always have this. I think they have a exclusive of the Razor Crest as well, which comes with different figures and is slightly different than the Amazon one. So definitely check Amazon, check Walmart, check Target. These things should be fairly easy to track down. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks so much for watching.